Yeah, caramate. Ooh, love shouldn't cost a lap dance. Love is not the boom boom room. And girl, while you leave me stranded. I don't understand me go. I brought you over for a green card, but you took my heart. And love shouldn't cost a lap dance. And love is not the boom boom room. Oh, send me a caramate. Oh, send me a caramate now. I'm crying. Oh, with the razor blade in my tires. I see your tires. I slashed it, but it hurt me more. Love shouldn't cost a lap dance. And love, it's not the boom boom room. Oh, send me a caramate. Oh, send me a caramate. UPS, FedEx, send me a caramate. Oh, oh, oh. Send me your care, mate. Oh, send me your care, mate now. But love is not a lap dance. It's love.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rev G. How you hear me? How you hear me? So I want to add a little comedy, but we're gonna get shout out to Desert Woman, shout out to Liz Martin. She said this song, yeah. So I know I'm laughing and joking, but I wanted to be serious for a minute, and I want to start this show off like this. If Let me go ahead and let's see, where's the link? I want to go ahead and start off by open it up. I want to go ahead and open up the altar call. Have you noticed that people are trying to people have trying to steal my idea? The altar call came from me. Y'all need to be giving people their props, man. So there's the link. And if you got an issue with Rev G, if you got something you want to get off your chest, there's plenty of room. Plenty of room. There's plenty of room. Plenty of room, man. And the question is, my friend, hold on for a minute. I got to delete some stuff before I add some stuff, right? So if you want to come, there's plenty of room for you to come, right? Plenty of room. Will you come? Will you come? Will you come? All right. So sorry, just got an Amber Alert. I'm praying for them. There is room for you. All right. So here we come. Here we come. I have to answer that Amber alarm. There's plenty of room, people. Plenty of room for you. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. Will you come? All right. So it looks like nobody came. So let's go ahead and get into our discussion. I want to talk about HIV and AIDS in the Black community. And I wanted to do that because, especially in the Umar Johnson sector, there was somebody got mad at somebody, and then they used to be friends. They got mad at each other, and then they started spreading, oh, you got HIV, you got HIV. Hold on, where's the, I can't even see. You got HIV, you got HIV, right? They started talking about each other. They started talking about each other, sorry. All right, so let's look at this, man. And I got my little thing. I can't even see. My eyes are so bad. Shout out to Living Queen. Shout out to Living Queen. So let's look at this. So in 2018, an estimated 1.2 million people had HIV. Of those who had HIV, 479 were Black African American people. Mm. Huh. I mean, think about that. 470 something thousand people who are identified as living with HIV and AIDS were black. That's out of what, 1.32 million people. Black folks, we make up less than 13% of the American population, but we make almost half of those living with HIV and AIDS. Is it a black issue? Isn't an issue that we should shame each other? So what I was saying was there was a group of people, there's two people that got upset at each other in Umar Johnson's sector. One got mad and started saying the other one had HIV. And then our resident therapist, Dempsey Spears, he decides to also mock the person who they said has HIV. And he began to show his status. I, the thing about HIV and AIDS, let me give my history. And even that same therapist, he was trying to mock me for, he said that I work at a HIV and AIDS clinic, as if that was something that you should be ashamed of. The idea that how could you be a straight man, a heterosexual man, and work with people who have HIV and AIDS, that's just like idiotic to me, that people would question that. So to give my history, I'm gonna give my history real quick. I'm gonna give my history. Shout out to KRP. So, and I'm gonna age myself. I don't not even gonna dox myself really. I've told this story over and over before. So in 2002, I became a social worker, a professional social worker. I had my degree and I began to work in my field. And my first job as a social worker was an HIV and AIDS case manager. And it was something that's called Ryan White. It was called the Ryan White Project. And it's a piece of legislation. And it's still the Ryan White uh, legislation today. In fact, one of my children is working as a student, working closely with those who live with HIV and AIDS. And I will say that will be all I said, because I don't want to dox my child, and I don't want people to go after my child, because when you start going after people's children, oh, it's on. It's on. So I started working at HIV and AIDS, right, as a case manager. And one thing I noticed is most of my white clients who are living with HIV or AIDS, they had a strong support system when it comes to those who wanted to be in church, had a strong support system. But it wasn't the case for those who were black. And in fact, some of the black medical professionals had a lot of shame towards people who were living with HIV and AIDS. Many were very homophobic. They would say things like, I don't support that gay lifestyle. And so clients who were black and who had HIV, who were living with HIV or AIDS, or if they were LGBTQ plus, they really they didn't like going to black doctors. They didn't like going to doctors, period. They also felt like God didn't want them or love them, that it was God's punishment that they were either gay or they had HIV. And I could tell you, I had many clients who felt that way because of the messages that they got from the community. So I started working closely with those who were HIV and living with HIV and AIDS. And I started seeing how homophobia was linked. Not just homophobia, but poverty, systemic racism are all linked to the high amount of HIV AIDS infection in the black community. And I think it's appalling how we how that message is thrown around of, you know, that someone live with HIV and AIDS, we can mock people, right? We can mock people and we can shun them and we can do all of that. I really want to know, like, what are your thoughts about the way that we target people who are living with HIV and AIDS? And let me say this about living with HIV and AIDS. It is not a death sentence as it once was. There's medication where a person can go undetected, meaning that it won't show, it won't show up, and they won't transmit it to other people. But the issue is, and again, I haven't worked or volunteered in HIV and AIDS probably for about 8 years. And I stopped volunteering with church groups and other groups in the Black community because many people would not address religious-based homophobia and how it fuels HIV and AIDS in the Black community. But look at those numbers again, right? So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and go on to the next slide. I couldn't post all the slides, man, because I just couldn't. No, I don't want to show that. I want to show this. Okay. Let me go ahead and take out the comment. Let me do something real quick. I'll be right back. I need to adjust so I can see my light. I cannot see my light. Let me see. Let me go ahead and play a track. Be right. A 1 2, Rev G on the harmonica. We about to do this. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah. No, it's not. It's not that time yet. Woo! Hip hop harmonica. All right. I'm back. Let me look over some of the comments. KRP says, I was a researcher years ago. I think you're talking about reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Yeah, I mean, I've been out since 15, out of working closely with HIV and AIDS or volunteering. And I was on a conference call probably last year, and some of the advances they've made, I was like, wow, I never thought I would see the day. But the stigma is still there. Yet, there's a woman says it's still taboo and frowned upon in our community. It doesn't make it easier for us with our distrust in the medical. Right. That's what they're talking about. That's why we flock to folks like Dr. Sebi. Right. Are we listening to people like Umar Johnson? Are we? And so here's what I mean. When I would, so back in the day, if someone was diagnosed with HIV and AIDS, they would contact the doctor or whoever. That person would go into case management, and then we would open a case. A lot of times I would open a case and close a case because when folks of color find out that they're HIV positive, many people, they wait and wait until it is now not HIV and HIV. HIV is the virus that causes AIDS. It is AIDS, and now they're going into full blown AIDS. And I would open up people's cases one week, and the next week I'll be closing it because that person has died because of the distrust in the system, right? Liz says there are people who are still living now. Yeah, back in the 90s, the medical advancements are phenomenal. Yeah, I know so many people who were diagnosed in the 90s. I knew one person who was diagnosed in the 80s. So again, people live longer, but there's so much stigma. You see it here played out in front of our eyes, where the stigma. And years ago, I used to host a gospel radio show, and I hosted from 2005 to 2008, and we were talking about HIV and AIDS in the Black community and how we can help each other. And I couldn't have a discussion on HIV and AIDS in the Black community without talking about religious-based and survival-based homophobia. And so many people wanted me to not talk about that. Just talk about loving each other. Okay, well, I can't talk about loving those with HIV and AIDS unless we talk about the hate. Okay? We talk about the hate, the judgment, not just for LGBT folks, but also for those who may have contracted it based on drug addiction, right? Sharing needles with other people, right? No, I did that. I did that a long time ago. But yeah, I'm getting ready for that Spirit Mouse track. Yeah, 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 yeah. So again, it says HIV affects Black Americans community more than any other racial and ethnic group. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I am on my mobile, and maybe I don't know how I can make this bigger, but I get a little older, I cannot see, and I cannot make this bigger, but you can see it. You can see it, right? You can see the numbers. I mean, what do you think about that? HIV affects Black African American communities more than any other racial or ethnic group. I mean, what do we make of this? It what this shows you, and it always been the case, prevention has always been hard. For one, there's not the funding and the most the funding for HIV and AIDS goes more into the care, the medication, it goes more into the care of. You know what? I have my glasses on. I have them on. I keep getting fussed at. My wife is like, "You need to go and get a new prescription." We don't want to think. We don't want to talk about we old and we can't see, right? We don't want to talk about that, how we old and we can't see. Now, I'm gonna share with you something, right? I was I'm a former HIV and AIDS educator. Red Cross used to have this program where you can be trained as an HIV and AIDS educator. And basically, not just HIV and AIDS, but it was like sexual health. And so it was a very intense training. And as an HIV and AIDS educator, the Red Cross way was the ABCs of protection, right? The ABCs of protection. A was abstaining from sex if you can, right? Oh my gosh. B is be safe, right? B is to, sorry, no. A is for abstinence. B is for be faithful to your partner. Be faithful to your partner, right? Be faithful to your partner. And C is the use of condoms during all sexual activity. A is for abstaining, B is for be faithful, and C is the use of condoms during all sexual interaction, anal, oral, vaginal, right? But again, there's a distrust. There's a distrust, and this information came from CDC, and there's a distrust within what black people when it comes to CDC. There's a distrust in the medical system. There's a distrust when it comes to CDC. There's a lack of adequate health care. And a lot of times people who are infected with HIV, they wouldn't come to the doctor until it's dire and they're going through the emergency room. And I used to be so frustrated because I would be frustrated trying to get into the church and talk about this issue. And again, you can't have this discussion without talking about the distrust and dishonesty, right? You can't when you got people like Umar Johnson and Dr. Sebi and other people talking about conspiracies. See, here's the thing. I don't know how HIV and AIDS got here, but we do know that it's here. We also know that HIV is 100% preventable. HIV is, oh yeah, HIV is 100% preventable. Again, do I need to say this loud and clear? HIV is 100% preventable. And I was talking about HIV again. I am not patting myself on the shoulder, but I was talking about HIV and AIDS again around 2002, 2003. I was talking about HIV prevention so much that people used to call me that AIDS man. When I was on the radio, they just say, "Oh, the AIDS man is on the radio." And again, I just, y'all don't, I mean, a lot of us know, right? But my first day of work, man, my first day of work as a professional social worker, and many of you know this story, Liz and Living Queen, you probably already know this story, but my first day as a social worker, as an HIV and AIDS case manager, I witnessed someone die. They were already listed as brain dead, right? There was no brain functioning. And my coworker went to see this person, took me, and the doc, none of the family members, none of the church wanted anything to do with them. This was 2002. And they waited till she came, my coworker came to, to take the person off of the machines. And I witnessed this, man, and that forever, that changed my life forever. I was having nightmares. I couldn't sleep because I've never witnessed anything like that in my life. And I was just thinking, man, how in the world could this happen? I would hear stories about people who their family members would force them to sleep in the doghouse because they had HIV. They would, burn all the dishes if they used dishes. I mean, and this was like and this was in the 2000s. And I would like meet clients at McDonald's. I would meet them just, because they were afraid to come to the office where I worked because that they didn't want anybody to know that they were living with HIV. Has had many who they were closeted. Yeah, I appreciate Desert Woman. Yeah, I mean, and again, I didn't know the person, but my coworker did, and I was like, I was so angry, man. I was like, this is crazy. God, somebody has to do something. And I felt like God spoke to me and said, you do it. So I went hard. I mean, I went hard, man. I learned everything I could about HIV and sexual orientation and gender identity. And I don't want to say I was reckless, but I was like confrontational. I was very confrontational, man. Very confrontational. And it burned a lot of bridges, right? I mean, it burned a lot of bridges. Um, and it wasn't healthy for me, but I was witnessing people die left and right, man. And because of the stigma, they would not get treatment. And even once they're diagnosed, a lot of black folks wouldn't go through the treatment. They were on and off, on and off. And again, a lot of it is because of the stigma. It's because of they feel as though, they're told that having that disease is wrong, right? And many people felt like this was their punishment. So I would do a lot of work. So from 2002 to 2015, I was like volunteering. And I tell you, and my middle child, had to write a paper. This is their senior year, and they wrote a paper about an experience they had. And I told this story before, but I was I was going to an event, and I used to have a bunch of red HIV and AIDS ribbons, and these were they were stickers. And I had left the middle child in the vehicle, and I think my wife was in the front seat. And I come back, and the middle child put all the red ribbons all over the vehicle. And again, I'm a pushover. I was like, "Why?" I said, Daddy needs those stickers. And the middle child was probably like 3 or 4, and they asked me, why you have all the stickers? And I said, because we want to show people who are living with HIV and AIDS that we love them, and we're doing what we can to help them. And the middle child looked at me, tears, and they were like, Daddy, I don't think I'm doing enough. And I was like, whoa, I was blown away with compassion that this little person had. And they're working, their practicum is working with people who are living with HIV and AIDS. And I could not be any prouder for that person. Yeah, you said my family did the same for my cousin in the late 80s. I was young, didn't understand until later. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of what we did not know a lot about HIV. And I would understand like the 80s was like that. And the thing is, when you have conversations with people who are LGBTQ plus, who are probably in their 50s and 60s, they can tell you a lot about the friends they lost. They can tell you a lot of stories. And I have a lot of friends who are older who they tell you those stories and how it was. Because I remember growing up in the 80s, man, we were like scared. But the thing is, all we knew about HIV and AIDS, that we were told that it was a gay disease and it was a white disease. But it was hitting black people hard, but we didn't talk about it. And I'm all about having those hard conversations, right? I'm all about having those hard conversations because it is still impacting us as a people, right? It is still, and I don't care how much I don't like a person or how they did me wrong or whatnot. Uh, I I will not joke around or use HIV as a way of harming people. For one, that would be unethical for me, and for two, I have I have so many people I love and respect that are living with HIV and AIDS. I have some that are going on to be with the Lord that mentored me, and I mean, I've met some really cool, beautiful people. And not everybody who are living with HIV and AIDS are gay, you know? And we do a lot, man. We do a lot to weaponize sexuality and weaponize HIV and AIDS that we need to stop. And that's one of the reasons why I did this, doing this live today, is I wanted to have a real clear conversation about HIV and AIDS. And just again, just tell you my experience in the early 2000s of working closely in my city, in Kansas City. Um, I even, I think it was 2007. I had to double check. It might have been earlier than that. But I actually, our radio broadcast, I did a presentation. Um, so I did a proposal so I could present at the National HIV, National Social Workers and HIV and AIDS conference. That was a big, it was a big deal, man. And my proposal it was accepted. And it was, what we were doing was groundbreaking. That radio show was groundbreaking. And it was actually, I got the idea for the radio show from a radio show that was done in Miami. It was a radio show that a nurse did in Miami. Um, and they were focusing on HIV and AIDS in the Black community in the Black church. And when I saw that, I was like, we could do this too. And I was working at a university at the time, and we got grant money to pay for it. And they were like, you should host it, you should produce it. Yeah. I was like, I don't know anything about hosting a radio show or producing a radio show. And they were like, all you got to do is just do the show and get guests. And so we were able to get, man, that at the time, MySpace was big. So we were doing all kinds of, shout out to Anti-Afro. So we were doing all kinds of stuff on MySpace. And that was a time before medication and before diagnosis. So I would barely sleep. I was up late, researching, getting people to come on the show. So we had people on the show to talk about homophobia and, HIV and AIDS. We had national speakers come on the show. I did a show. Where the guy that wrote the book on the down low, J.L. King. You remember that guy that was on Oprah? Oprah got his book popping. J.L. King. Yeah, look that name up, J.L. King. And he wrote that book on the down low. And I had a friend, she supported the show. She was based in, I think, DC. I'm not sure where she was based in, but she was a PR person. And she was the one that she helped J.L. King get on Oprah. And when he got big time, he dumped her and got white PR people. And she was like, I believe what you're doing, and so I will be your PR person, pro bono. And so she helped me write press releases. And I did. There was a lady named Smith. Was it Beth Smith or something like that? Beverly Smith, or she was a syndicated radio show person. I got on her radio show, and then things just started cooking. So anyway, J.L. King agreed to be interviewed. This was like, once all the fame wore off, he wrote another book. And I think it was called Surviving the Down Low or something like that. And interviewed him on the radio show. But the thing about that is, I realized that the stigma attached to HIV and AIDS, the stigma attached to LGBT folks, the stigma attached to those who are addicted to crack, those who do sex work, is also attached to those who help them. So that stigma was like thrown on me big time. And again, I'm not famous in my city or nothing like that, but it was good to have some kind of name recognition in the early 2000s. And I did a lot of like speaking at around places, emceeing events and all kind of stuff. But that stuff went out the door when people started knowing my theology. Black folks didn't want to deal with you. But as we talk about HIV and AIDS, I think it's people are people can have their opinions, right? But I think we need to balance that. And again, any questions, man? Do you have any questions in the comments section? Ask your questions. Fire away with your comments. And I remember, man, speaking up and speaking out. I remember when I first started preaching, my pastor gave me the green light, sorry. And he said we can bring HIV and AIDS education to the church. And I remember, man, I did a press release. Um, yeah. Anti-Afro says Gerald is not being totally upfront. He is well known in his community as an advocate for the maligned and well respected. Yeah. All right, you about to have me start crying. Yeah, I mean, people know me. You know, folks know of me, especially those in who work with, as you talked about, the work in the HIV, LGBT community. Yeah, yeah. But I don't do a lot. I don't, but I will. I'm going to start doing more, and I'll talk about that a little later. You said that dude figured out a good hustle publishing that garbage book. A lot of heterosexual black women. Yeah, and you know what? He and when I interviewed, you know what? I have so many tapes of the interviews I've done. However, let me also tell you, one of the uh, one of the sound engineers on the radio station, he was a preacher, and he did not like my message, and so he would sabotage me all the time. He would not record my shows, so I used to just record my shows on my own. But yeah, he apologized for that. He apologized for adding to that fear mongering. Yeah, he apologized for that. He really did, and that that caused him to. I ain't gonna tell his business, but he talks about it. Relapse. Uh, the the uh, the guilt that he felt because of that. It was paranoia. And even today, I heard Dempsey Spears said, black women are the number one, because of gay black men, and that's not the case. That's not the. I mean, again, HIV and AIDS. HIV can happen to anyone, right? HIV can happen to anyone, right? HIV can happen to anyone. It's about again. HIV is not about who you are, but it's about what we do that put ourselves at risk. It's not about who we are; it's about what we do. That's HIV, man. And any other sexually transmitted infections. I don't know. I mean, when I interviewed him, I thought he was sincere. I thought he was sincere. And anybody that's calling cap on what I'm saying, that's your problem because you live in cap land. I ain't gotta live in cap land. If I'm telling y'all something, it's true. You ain't gotta believe me, but you can fact check me all you want to as well. Yeah, Dumpsy's info was damaging, callous, and flippant. His comments and educating others should have nothing to do with anyone in the YouTube streets. Yeah, this educating people about HIV, that was a hit on somebody. And that was disgusting. Showing your, showing his I guess him being clean of HIV and all of that. That's sick. What if you have a client who's living with HIV? Right? What if you have a client who's living with AIDS? gosh, it's yeah. These people live in Capland. You know they do. They live in Capland. Just because you haven't, just because you lie about all your accomplishments, you folks in Capland doesn't mean everybody else do. I mean, again, we're talking about almost 20 years ago when I was doing this stuff. Right. Yeah. I mean, I was working hard. I'm telling you, it was exhausting, but I felt like so many people were calling me all across the country, all in the world. Even I had someone call me from Japan and told me thank you for the work that I was doing. Because again, I was on MySpace at the time. I was doing blog talk radio. Uh, I had press releases. I mean, it was out there, man. It was out there. It was out there. And and I remember I went to a conference, and there was another black guy there. He was heterosexual, and his family, his wife, and everybody was like really turning on him because they thought he was gay because he was supporting the LGBT community. But I never had that. My wife was there. She doesn't like the speaking. She doesn't like being in crowds of people and stuff. But she supported me. I remember I preached at a LGBT church that's part of the MCC the MCC. It was the MCC congregation, and I was the second black heterosexual preacher to preach there. The first heterosexual black preacher was Reverend Emmanuel Cleaver, and he's also Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver. Look that up. So I felt like I was in good company, and I preached at that church. It was July the 4th. I don't know. It was like 210, 211. It might have been earlier than that. And I just remember that people who just came up to us and was hugging on us and saying thank you for preaching and thank you for being here. Uh, yeah, yeah, that whole the download stuff, man. I mean, people around this sector, around Umar's sector, keep saying Rare's on the download. Well, most men on the download are the ones saying everybody else is on a download. Most men on the download don't want people to even think that they are on the download. See, I'm not worried about. If I was worried about that, man, I would never have done the work that I was doing since 2000. I wasn't even thinking about people calling me gay or anything like that. There was a need that was met, the need to be met, and I was doing it. Right. The whole and that whole download movement thing was, and that's why in the research world and whatever, they use the term men who have sex with men. They don't use gay or anything like that because there are a lot of men who have sex with men that don't consider themselves gay. If you were having unprotected sex, no matter who you having sex with, you could be at risk. Again, it's not about who you are. It's not about who we are, it's about what we do. Yeah. D, he said unless you have a license, you can't say anything about the DSM. How open discussions on mental health are encouraged. Yeah. Dempsey, man, that idiot. He don't he try to talk about sexual orientation and gender identity. He has no idea what he's talking about. That's why I wanted to debate Umar Johnson so bad on this topic. Again, I'm not a researcher, I'm not an expert, but I know enough on this topic, especially when it comes to the black community. And again, I'm gonna take a sabbatical and just go back to my research and start up. Yeah, yeah. Those obsessed who are thinking every man is DL would be first here if you announced your intent to do a twerk video. God, man, yeah, twerk video. Goodness. Play some Sylvester, do some old school. You make me feel mighty real. They were like, oh, look at he's twerking. Pop, 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 pop. Yep. But the risk of contraction is significantly higher with regards to anal sex. And that's for both men and women and those who do not claim a gender. And the reason why, and you know this probably better than, I mean, not better than I do, 'cause I'm not calling you, I'm thinking about the research, sorry, that when it comes to the research, man, the anal cavities, uh, they have, more, the blood vessels, the blood vessels. And again, anal sex, unsafe anal sex, right? I had no problem talking about vaginal, anal, oral sex. Again, I was trained old school. The Red Cross, that training I went through, man, that was an intense training. Yeah, there's more blood in the anal. Yeah, it's a direct access point to the bloodstream. Right. See, these are the conversations that we need to have, man. I've always been a proponent of having these conversations, but I stopped, man, because I was just so weary, man. Especially after 2012. For those of y'all know what all went down 2012. It was like a tsunami of stuff, man. And it was like, man, all the work, I went like 10 years straight just working, bam, bam, going to different events, speaking, going on radio shows and debating people. And then I hit a wall, man. I hit a brick wall, and I didn't feel like I was supported by many in the community. Racism, homophobia, internal homophobia. And I really learned about what an ally really meant. And sometimes it means for you to just be quiet and allow people to enjoy the space. Right. And bodily fluids too, to a certain extent as well. So you gotta, I mean, even during oral oral sex, you know, use condoms and again, I've been out of the biz, but dental dams. And when I say the biz, not sex work, but prevention and education. Maybe I don't know. I'm always scared about bringing people on my show because I don't want them to be attacked. But that's what I'm talking about, man. I shouldn't be afraid. Like, I preached on Sunday, and normally I would share the video, like, hey, watch this video. Here's the link. But these jackasses around here love to go on and harass people. Hey, just sent it. Hey, all right. So I'm going to continue this discussion. I think we'll do it again. I appreciate this. It was like it's free flowing. A lot of times I don't want to set up a lecture because I feel like I'm always speaking and stuff. But let me just do this. Actually, let me do this. Thank you, JD. JD. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this more. My lunch break is about over. To get back to the work. But I'm posting this video right here, right? Because let me just tell y'all something, right? Bullying versus harassment. I'm sorry, bullying versus roasting. Roasting versus bullying. What y'all call roasting in the Umar Johnson sector is not roasting. It's bullying. Roasting is like if I say, hey, me and AAS, we start joking on each other and we laugh at the end. That's roasting. Roasting is like it takes two, right? You invite somebody to start roasting. Bullying is when you say you roasting somebody, but you do video after video after video, and y'all are humiliating people, right? You are humiliating people, and a lot of times it is the other person did nothing to you, right? And what do you? I mean, that is that. And maybe the next live stream we will do roasting versus bullying, right? And we'll talk about joking. Oh, it's jokes. It's jokes. You know what? If I'm not joking with your ass, if I'm not joking with you, and I don't like your joke, it ain't that I'm sensitive. I'm like, okay, if I don't like your joke, if you joking or you talking, if you put my name and stuff, I mean, let me just sit 2017. I've been making videos. Oh, wow. The congregation was cheering for you like you were a quarterback. I missed that cheering because I had to use the restroom. I had to go use the restroom. Wow, they were cheering. I didn't even know that. I had to go, I had to run, man, because I turned 50. Bladder not like, okay, that's too much information. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's too much information. But I appreciate, yeah, Liz. Thank you, Liz. Man, I love doing what God calls me to do. Um, but no, that's not roasting people. And again, I've been in this space since I've been adopted as a stepchild in the Umar Johnson sector since 17. Right, in 17. And I'm telling you, 5 years of people so-called joking, putting your name on putting your name in their mouth, and they're using your name to get people to watch their shows, and they're using your name and so-called joking on you to be accepted in the crowd. No, no, we're not gonna have that. No, and I have every right to confront people if I want to, because y'all confront people, get my name out your mouth all the damn time. Yeah, I had to. I was like, oh my mom told me you shouldn't drink that coffee. You know how you know how your bladder. You got that from me. I was like, I don't too much information, mama. And man, I might have to watch that. I don't like watching me preach, but I'm gonna have to watch that. I appreciate that. Uh right. It's not funny when it's about you. Right. It was all jokes when, you know, why is she complaining now? Laughed all the day, every day, harassing us. We were quiet. Now it's harassment. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all like joking and y'all like roasting people, but y'all are some weak people. Y'all couldn't handle the kind of stuff that we have endured at the hands of Umar Johnson supporters and Umar Johnson sector clout chasers. Y'all could never, ever handle the type of stuff. They try to humiliate you, right? Talking about teeth this, red gingivitis, and this and that. But soon as somebody talk about y'all, oh, it's war, it's on. They like calling you gay, 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 gay. But soon as somebody called them gay, they ready to have a 4-hour panel crying about people calling them gay. Right. Always using, yeah. Oh, you sensitive now. You crying now. Just tell me your jokes hurt. No, nah. People have a right to respond, right? The only thing is when we respond, it's like, oh, yeah, they're harassing me, they bothering me. You get tired, man. I'm like, stop using my effing name for clout. You ain't got no clout. Well, you know what? People come to your chat. They love talking about me. They love talking about AAS. But as soon as we talk about you, 2023, I got a new year. It's a new me. No. You got jokes? I want to laugh too. Right. Emotional and sensitive. Right. 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 Emotional and you're emotional. You know, I no. I'm man, who raised y'all? Who raised y'all Negroes? Who raised y'all? If y'all were in the streets and y'all were saying jokes about people, they'll pull up on you in a heartbeat. Didn't you watch Sopranos? And that one guy was talking about the mobster's wife. They almost had him killed. I ain't gonna say I'm trying to kill people, but I'm just saying, man. Y'all know what y'all doing. Y- y- y'all think, y'all think. I'm sorry. Y'all think we some weak asses, right? I'm sorry, I'm cussing. Y- y'all think that the Rainbow Rev and the coloring book and all of that. Y'all think y'all can just come in and just kick a brother in the face, right, in the mud. Sometimes I don't respond to people because I know they broken. I know they have, they broken. So me joking on them, life has already roasted the shit out of them. So I ain't got to say nothing. Yeah, yeah, Johnny Sack. That's right. Johnny Sack gonna get somebody killed. They're gonna kill somebody because he's talking about his wife. Yes, very weak. If I don't want someone on my ass, I sure as hell would be bringing them up. Because I know if I'm cracking jokes, when I crack jokes about people, then they say, "Oh, it's harassment, and you attacking women, you doing this." But it's okay to do 3-hour lives where you showing my picture, and y'all all got all these jokes to say about Rev G and all of this. Oh, he's sensitive, he's emotional. No, no, I'm just. Do you have a problem with me? Okay, do we have a problem? I mean, I would understand if I'm joking about you and I'm saying stuff about you, but I'm not. You ain't earned your stripes. Y'all think, oh, is okay. What you got to do to be laughed at and known in this sector, all you got to do is just punch Rev G and punch AAS and you'll be in. Here's the secret. We punch back when we want to punch back. Yeah, right. That picture is so perfect for this sector. Yeah, that's why I did that. Hold on. My homeboy always got to check his. Ah! Ah! My homeboy always checking in. Yeah, I mean, I mean, again, I'm not bragging and stuff, but y'all talk about y'all human. I'm a human too, right? And I show a lot of grace and mercy and love that I'm not going to get up there and curse at you. I'm not going to yell and scream at you. But when I get fed up, I'm just saying enough is enough. 2022 was no effing more when it comes to the threats and harassment. 2023 is, you got jokes? Okay. Why are you joking on me? I don't know you. It ain't that serious. Well, shut the ooh. Oh Lord. Okay, hold on. I gotta do this. I'm sorry. I gotta do this one last time. One last time. I gotta do this. Gotta do this. If anybody want to come up now, did I drop the link already? Let me drop the link one more time. Let me copy it. Let me go ahead and put it in. Let me go ahead and put it in. Put it in the chat. And let me go ahead and let you go ahead and come in. The doors of StreamYard are open. Will you come? Yeah. Anti says, I knew by the tone of your voice what was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, because my thing is, I don't go into a lot of spaces. And if I go on panels, then it depends on the host. They will, people will come up, they would try to bombard you. The host will mute you, but I trust Remix. And I've been trying to find out what the issue was for a long time with old boy. And it's been going on for a year or so, and I get screenshots, and the reason why I get screenshots because people love to lie. Not saying that's what he done, but people like to lie, and you got to build up a case, man. You got to have that. So everybody screenshots. So don't just say we the only ones that do it and record. So I had to get that. I had to get that. I had to, and I got multiple screenshots of this guy and comments of this guy saying some salty stuff about me and homophobic stuff and saying I'm controlled by AA. Oh, everybody jokes about that. No. So, you know what? I don't care. Yeah. And when I feel like it, I will get on that. Some people are not worth my time. Some I just felt it was time. Again, I ain't trying to start nothing, but I'm definitely want to figure out what the issue is. KRP says I'm tired of the make a change scammer nonsense. Last time I checked, Darrell was the Medicaid scammer. How come? Right, because make a change is flippity floppity. Make a change is missing the cock. Right, that's all he does. He can say, call me a scammer all he wants to. I don't really care. That's all he has. But he don't have the same kind of smoke for other people. So that's fine. I've been there, done that. I've talked about that issue. He's more concerned with the aftermath than what actually went down. So missing the cock. In fact, hold on for a second. Let's go ahead and play that song that's dedicated to make a change. Once there was a farmer who worked around the clock. He wanted to make a change, but he was missing the cock. Maybe I gotta take off when you missing the cock. Can't soar with the eagles and fly with the flock. What do you do when you missing the cock? It never stops. Why, yeah. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh man, it's not playing. It won't play, guys. I don't know what's going on with the song, but it's the Missing the Cock song. It's dedicated to that idiot. But you a reverend. I can't hear it, man. Is it playing? It's probably not playing, is it? Oh, you can hear it? I can't hear it. Okay. What do you do when you missing the cock? It never stops. Why, yeah. You missing the cock. You can't fly with the eagle. No. When you missing the cock. When you missing the cock. You talk all about thumbnails. Oh, it never stops. All right, just a little bit of it because I can't hear it, but I'm glad you guys heard it. But no, I mean, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you, just sent it. Yeah, so yeah, he's missing the cock. Yeah, because he got a lot of that venom from people like myself, but he has none for like the massage terrorists. None of those people, but he got a lot for other people. He just one more thing. No, one more thing. and get CE on you and your thumbnail and your thumbnail. Yeah, your damn thumbnails. All right. Uh, Uncle Albert says that's so true. It's very deceptive because the way the sector runs, you would think that you and AAS are the villains, but that's so far from the truth. I had to learn the hard. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, in order to get initiated into the Umar Johnson sector, you got to go against AAS and myself. But we hit back. And I would just have to sit quiet. People were saying, oh, Rev G, he's a PUSSY, Rev G. He's a coward, Rev G, coloring books and this and that. Man, y'all just don't know. It's any, because of heteronormativity, any man want to punch back. Any man want to fight back. But there's so much that I can't say, because when I say it, it'll get clipped, it'll get screenshot, and then it'll be sent to whoever, and then I'll be looking all crazy. They want to make money on their channels. They'll use your name, your quotes, and music on their channel. That's their goal. They have no intent in rational discussion. That's why Garfield gets cussed out. Yeah, they don't want to have that. That's why I'm like, let's have this discussion. I don't want to keep seeing you with these damn jokes about me and how whack I am and how this and this and that. Okay, it sounds like you got an issue with me. So let's go ahead and just talk about it. Plenty of folks who are not AFW send us info on. It's right. No, everyone does not joke about it. Those who do, however, count on being confronted. Right. Even if I say something about somebody who said nothing about me, I will be confronted. And remember when I hate to bring his name up, but RNT Edutainment, he said something about me a couple of times, and then I responded with video, with like making fun of him, like putting you to sleep, and he responded back, and I think he got mad, but I'm like, see, that's the thing. People, they expect to, and again, I don't want to be on the Summer Jam screen. We good, man. I don't need any more kerfuffles. I'm just making a point. I'm just making a point. I'm making a point. Just making a point. Yeah, I got that from AAS. Yeah, Bisson the cock. Yeah, he is. You want to bring up stuff? Yeah. I mean, you can call me a scammer all you want to, but people who know me know me. People who love me love me. You just need to find your thumbnails. And if you wanna hit the link, you can. But you gotta be blocked, sir. You gotta be blocked. No, I don't have you. I look back at it, and you did post a comment, but I deleted it. You're not blocked. I just didn't want to post your comment. Was you blocked, sir? You got me blocked. No, you're not. You a lie. You a lie, sir. Thumbnails. I know. Grind. Unlike I can spend 6 hours on live stream. I can't either. I need to get up out of here. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Yeah, he's just like KKC. A long list of brothers have stepped to KKC, but KKC focuses attacks mainly on women. Right. On you. Yeah, definitely you. Yeah, but that doesn't stop me. No, it don't stop you. Well, my lunch break. Peace, Uncle Albert. They say they want their channels to take off, but they refuse to put in work. Instead, they take cheap shots and slander and lose any credibility. That wife. Propane went off on me for repeating what KKC said. It turned out that KKC jumped to conclusions. Well, at least he didn't make a video on propane. Yeah, but he has strong reaction. I get it. Peace. That white fizz. All right. I thank all of y'all for coming. Those with screenshots. Again, if I want to respond to people, I will. Doesn't make me sensitive, doesn't make me anything. It makes me respond to what you say. All right? That's it. That's all. Van Dam. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for tuning in. We're out.
Red.